Alright, we're back. This is either the start of a new video or a continuation of the previous one, depending on if this is the last prompt or not. We'll see. What Miss Pop saw. Because in theory, as long as they don't get stuck up on anything, it shouldn't be that much longer. Because this is probably our last section, because we have like no evidence left to use, so... I came back to the hideout long after the other two. By that time, Lance had already subdued and restrained Mr. Deacon. He had tied Mr. Deacon securely to the beam in the room next door. After that, the two of us put on our costumes and made our escape. So, Mr. Deacon must have escaped after the two of you left, right? We thought it'd attract too much attention if we left together, so I left first. Well, I mean, there's your window. We planned to meet up again at the stage in the stadium. But then as I was walking through the park, I got a call from Lance on my cell phone. Oliver managed to escape. It looked like he was waiting until I was alone. He also stole the gun from me at that time. And then the murder happened. Mr. Deacon must have overheard their plan to meet up at the stage. Well, Mr. Prosecutor, Miss Pop saw the victim with her own eyes. Means the victim was still alive at that time, wouldn't you agree? Why does that sound wrong to me? There must be something amiss about this account. Let's see what happens when I examine it in more detail.
Hold it!
What exactly did you arrive, or when exactly did you arrive back at the hideout? It was after we picked up the ransom money. And where were you up until the time you returned? I was scouting the park out and making preparations for our escape. I walked around in the various areas looking for the best route. And so each of them had their own roles to play. After I was done, I went back to the hideout.
Hold it!
How did Lance look at that time? He looked shocked. He also looked a little down. When I saw that sadness in his eyes, Thank you, but I don't give a shit. And what of Mr. Deacon? What was his situation like? Okay, so far I don't feel like we have a lot to go on.
Hold it!
Okay. Oh, wait, did you say in the next room? In the room next door. So he would have been in our beam then. Right? Are you sure it was Mr. Deacon you saw? Yes, I'm certain of what I saw. Did you go in the other room to check? Okay, so maybe that's why we brained Edgeworth to pretend that he was Mr. Deacon? I don't really know what evidence because I presume that's what they're going for. Is that she didn't actually see him, she just saw a person and assumed it was him. But I don't really see the I was chained to a pillar piece of evidence here. Lance, he's such a kind soul. And are you telling me that you did not confirm that it was Mr. Deacon for yourself? I checked through the slit in the door that separates the two rooms. He had a bad badger head on, so I'm absolutely sure. And we didn't have anything on our head. But he was passed out for a while. And it was in our room. So that would explain why it was in our room then. That just had to be Mr. Deacon. She saw a bad badger head. Okay. Okay, it does say it where it was left. So I think this is it, but...
Hold it!
So the tied-up Mr. Deacon was still in his bad badger costume. Yes, and it would appear she misread the whole situation. What now? Should I raise an objection? Sure, whatever. The person you saw was not the victim. Why not? I will tell you why not with this! Shows the person you saw was not the victim. My prosecutor badge.
Take that!
Miss Pomps, the person you saw was not Mr. Deacon at all. It was me. I am your daddy. Huh? The person you actually saw was this person. It was me! It was me all along! Huh? The person I saw was you, Mr. Edgeworth. You're my father? You seem a little young for that. I always thought it was a bit odd. Why would the kidnappers abduct me, even if I'd handed over the ransom? It was not as though I saw the face of the kidnappers. If I were them, I would have just taken the $1 million and ran. I mean, it does seem kind of silly. Well, I mean, knocking Edgeworth over the head, because couldn't you have just used the dead body? You know? Because if she's not getting a good look at him anyway, and you've got the head over, I mean, if you just kept him in the costume. Like, it's not like she would have known he wasn't alive, per se. Because Edgeworth was knocked out, because we don't have any memory of... Because when he comes to, the costume's already off his head, right? From what I remember. You don't wake up with the head on you. So that would mean he was unconscious. So it's not like he was, like, kicking around or anything to make it, you know, very noticeable that he was alive. In the end, there was a point to it all. It was to make me look like a Mr. Deacon. And if that was the reason for which I was abducted, then I believe we can assume that the victim was already dead at that time. Well, Lance, am I right?
That's...
You showed Miss Pomps a person, namely me, with a bad badger's head on. And then made your costume to escape together, or so you pretended. But, like, seriously, it doesn't really make any sense.
What do you mean he pretended?
Or, I mean, it makes sense, like, as a question in-game, but, like, logically speaking, it makes no sense. Exactly that. I believe Lance, because it's like, it's so much riskier also to use Edgeworth. Because what if he wakes up, like, early, and then he starts screaming, and you're like, that doesn't sound like Mr. Deacon. You know? Or you're like, I don't remember Mr. Deacon wearing this suit. Because also, he wasn't in the whole costume as well. Like, I've never seen him wear that before. And what's his prosecutor's badge that he had? Well, I guess you don't actually wear the prosecutor badge, so. I believe Lance watched you escape and then doubled back to the hideout. Probably to come and remove the bad badger head from my unconscious self. And to create his fake prison with the prop sword, he then escaped via the passageway.
Hold your tongue, boy. Don't get caught up in that tidal wave of words coming out of that Mr. Prosecutor's mouth. I don't know how they do it in the city, but me, I'm just a, you know, humble Far Eastern lawyer, ladies and gentlemen of the jury. I don't know about them highfalutin words like justice, law, right to a fair trial, habeas corpus. Sounds like a bunch of habeas nonsense if you ask this small town Eastern lawyer.
Tidal wave.
Had a lot come out of you, but I've yet to see a shred of evidence. Yeah. Victim's betrayal and a subsequent detainment. Oh, that could have happened while you were out cold.
That's right. You were out for quite a while, Mr. Prosecutor. How would you know? Even if that were the case, Miss Pomps would still have seen me tied to that beam.
I was scared of Mr. Deacon, so I didn't go into the next room. I really have no idea if you were in there or not, Mr. Edgeworth. You see, it would seem you can't prove a thing.
Who said that? Nobody said anything. You didn't see those words flash up in front of your mind's eye? Please wait. Mr. Romano? Ho, Miles, my boy, it looks like you're really giving it your all. And Lance, it's not good to cause trouble for others.
Dad?
Let's see. You're the one in charge of the investigation, correct?
Yeah, that's right. Sorry, my son has been nothing but trouble. This probably won't make up for anything, but I have some evidence for you. Oh, do you now? Is that what I think it is? It's the Bad Badger costume the victim was wearing, and a gun! 2 guns! I couldn't wait around for the police, so I went and found these myself. It appears they were disposed of in the sea. Is there no one in this country who actually obeys the law? There. Now, Agent Long, please calm down. The heck is this scrap of paper? You know I can't read. Sheena! This appears to be a letter from the Chief of Police. Please allow Mr. Amano complete freedom to do as he sees fit, it says. What? Money can get you anywhere, Miles, my boy. The Chief of Police? What the? Just who does he think he is? Some sort of Chief of the Police? The person who wields the highest authority in the area. Oh, there. Now, there is no need to be so upset. I'm not a cat from this land. I'm from the Far East, as previously mentioned. I'm not bound by the laws of your country. What? No, yeah, you are. I mean, I guess it depends on what we're talking about, but for the most part, yeah, you're bound by the laws of the country you're in. You don't got fucking diplomatic immunity or anything. And even then, that can be, I mean, I get what he's saying, that you have like international jurisdiction, but now, this wasn't meant to strong arm you in anything, it's just a request. Only ask, can you please respect the laws of the land? Can't really say no to that. However, return to the topic at hand. It doesn't matter who found the evidence. Its value remains unchanged. Alright, now let's take a look at this new evidence. Already got the results back. Had a special forensic research lab that okay, yeah. So the accused dad shows up with critical evidence. I got this done by my special lab partner buddies. They're totally unbiased. Now, I don't think he's necessarily trying to defend the son, but like, in a vacuum, I feel like we shouldn't just go with whatever this thing says. They verified the blood on the costume belonged to Oliver. As for the gun, only fingerprints they could find were yours, Lauren. Okay, no, he is trying to defend his son. I thought he was going to finally be like, you know, take some responsibility for his son potentially being a monster. Or, I mean, it's not really, you know. I don't think the dude's to blame, but that's like kind of a classic trope, right? The dad comes in to, you know, take responsibility for the errant son who hadn't been disciplined and had been allowed to run free. Disappoint me, Miles. I can't believe that you would cause my son such stress and heartache. Thank goodness I was able to find the final pieces of evidence. Okay, so it looks like we do have enough meat on the bones to... This is going to be a new video. That's it? These are the case-making pieces of evidence? Ha! I'll be the judge of that, and the jury, and God willing, the executioner. One less until I've crammed every suspicious-looking nook and cranny. Not really. We're not really for the executions. Except for the execution of justice. Know what I'm saying? What's this? Looks like there's something inside the costume head. That sparkle, I bet they're really valuable. Sorry, but they're just pieces of a mirror. But why are they in here? Oh yeah, because the mirror was broken, right? So that's probably where the scuffle happened. Is where they'd be on the inside of the head, but... This bullet hole. Looks like it's kind of burnt around the edges. Wait, those burn marks are left by the gunpowder. This is a most important fact. Is it? Why is that?
Because it's proof the victim was shot at point blank range. Oh yeah, they're pulling this shit out again. I remember this from one of the previous games. Gunpowder is proof he was shot from point blank range. Could this be the actual murder weapon? Originally stolen from guard by victim during escape. Well, these are not the most definitive pieces of evidence you've ever seen. Thank you, Dad. This should be enough to convince even Mr. Edgeworth over there. Convince me of what? That the victim was shot? Yeah, I already knew that. Other than that, you can't really... All it actually does is contradict your story because of the whole gunpowder thing. Make no mistake, there are fingerprints on that murderous weapon. And they prove it was Lolly who killed Oliver. But Oliver was also after Lolly's life. So Mr. Edgeworth, even you must see that Lolly was only acting in self-defense? The fingerprints on the weapon, huh? Oh no, this isn't helpful at all. Look, Mr. Edgeworth, all I want to do is save Lolly. In the end, all I can do is watch on as she takes the punishment for her crimes. That may be all you can do, however. I still have a case to solve and a job to do. The job of unraveling your insidious lie. You're not a very nice person. Is this why you don't have any friends? Is this why Mr. Wright doesn't want to hang out with you anymore? Is this why he went to a theme park and never even bothered to call you, Mr. Edgeworth? Is this why even when you saw him having a good time, you didn't even think about it because you were like, he probably doesn't like me and I don't want to even inconvenience them by reminding him of my existence? Is that why, Mr. Edgeworth? You won't believe me even in the face of all this evidence.
Hold it!
Those fingerprints, are you sure they belong to Miss Pops?
There's no mistake about it. Through my connections, I had the best forensic techniques money can buy performed. And then I told them, since they're the best money can buy, they should buy what I want them to say.
I find that to be a bit peculiar.
What? You trying to pick an argument with me?
What should I do? Should I raise an objection? Well, I don't think so. Not yet. Because really, I feel like this is a situation where we should just be able to ignore what the fuck they're saying to be like, to focus in on the gunpowder thing. Pull the same shit he pulled earlier with the question was about whether they knew they were related, and then Edgeworth just says, actually, it doesn't matter. I'm gonna talk about something different now.
Hold it!
You sure are calm for someone who's accusing his own girlfriend of murder.
You have it all wrong. Allowing her to pay the price is a form of love. She says she also wants to pay back her debt to society, but...
Hold it!
And why do you believe the victim was set on taking Miss Pops' life?
I suppose it's because he wanted to silence her. To keep her quiet because she knows the truth behind the kidnapping.
In that case, why did he not target you as well?
That's because he knew that if he killed me, he wouldn't be able to control my father.
Oh, right sure, my boy! Even if it cost me millions, I would have had the killer found. I believe he didn't kill you for an entirely different reason, however I digress.
Look, more than why he didn't kill me, I'm worried of what'll happen to Lolly.
Justified self-defense? I suppose that is a possibility given the circumstances.
Really? Oh, thank goodness.
However, self-defense was not necessary in this case. What do you mean? Miss Pops is innocent. She didn't do anything, so why would she need to defend herself from nothing? You still don't believe a word I say, do you? The entire argument hinges on the fact that her fingerprints are on the gun. The truth does not lie there. It lies in whatever he's hiding from me, but not for long. Okay. Because, like, I do wonder if I'm just supposed to bring up the gunpowder thing. Like, just something completely... Actually, is that even a piece of evidence? I guess it's not. Well, that's annoying. Oh, okay, it's added to here. The question is where do I present this? Anything? Oh yeah, you gotta use WASDA. I found Miss Pop's fingerprints on this gun. Let me hold it for a sec? I shouldn't if you don't know how to handle it. Besides, Miss Pop's prints are on it. Look, I'm wearing gloves. It'll be okay. I just want to take a look, that's all. It's not even gonna run off with it or commit a stick-up or nothing. The only thing I don't return are treasures. Stealing either one would land you in jail, you know? It was originally stolen from guard by victim during escape. Okay, so I don't think we're really going to be able to do anything with the fingerprints. So I do think we are just supposed to present this. The question is, do we present it here or here?
Hold it!
Because if I raise an objection, is that just going to like, is it actually going to be like, you have to present evidence now, or is it going to like change up the prompt? Because sometimes it just changes up the prompt. But if it asks me to present evidence, then I don't think this is the right spot for it. Frankly, I don't believe that Miss Pop's prints should be on that gun to begin with. And the reason why Miss Pop's print should not be on the gun is... I think we might be supposed to present this on a different... Because I feel like this is a red herring, actually. It being the very first line, and it's like, hey, do you want to present here? And I'm like, not really, but I was kind of hoping it wouldn't. I don't know, we'll just try it here. It's simply not possible for Miss Pops to have left any prints on the murder weapon. Because while she was at the stadium, Miss Pops was wearing a costume. Yeah, that's what I meant. Huh? There's no mistake. We found fingerprints. Well, Miss Pops, do you remember touching the gun at all at any time? I mean, this actually threw it into the ocean. I don't know. Maybe she took it off.
Yes, as a matter of fact, I did hold it for a bit, back in the hideout. I handed it off to Mr. Deacon when he and Lance left for the haunted house.
To retrieve the ransom money, I suppose. And there you have it. That is when Miss Pop's prints found their way onto the gun. Honestly, I'm surprised that worked. Because if I was, well, I don't know what I would have presented. Because even if I had made that connection, I don't know if this is what I would have presented. Because it says victim's costume, right? Like... Oh, had this been updated earlier? When I was mad in the previous video? That was in the last video, right? I can't remember if that was at the start of this one or the end of the last one. Had this been updated to say this? When it asked me about the badgers? I don't think I looked. I feel like it wasn't, but maybe it was. If so, then I'm not mad about that question anymore. Do you understand now, Mr. Amano? The fingerprints do nothing to prove Miss Pomps is the murderer. But we still don't have anything to prove that she isn't the killer, right? Also, I mean, here's the follow-up question. If we're gonna actually acknowledge the fact that they had bulky-ass costumes on, how the fuck you pulling the trigger with these fucking hands? Like, get real, dog. No shot. It's not exactly a big trigger, you know? Or it's not even like, you know, it has the guard on it. Maybe if it didn't have a, because you're not going to be able to fit your finger in there to pull it. I mean, like, I'm sure you could kind of like get enough of the fabric in there to pull, but it would be like kind of a pain in the ass. You seem very adamant about insisting that your girlfriend's a cold-blooded killer. Lance. No, I'm incredibly worried about her. That doesn't change the fact that you don't have any evidence, right? Well, I mean, in theory, if you didn't want her to be arrested, you would be like, that's great, you got no evidence anybody did shit. Cold case, motherfucker. That's where you're wrong. I have the evidence. Yow! The story that Miss Pops killed the victim at the stage in the stadium? Whole affair is simply not true because that was not the real crime scene but a setup. This proves the real murder was not committed at the stadium at all. Yeah, you just presented that. I'm presenting it again.
Take that!
Let us take another good look at that costume the victim was wearing. Honestly, I still can't believe that it accepted that earlier, that it is, you can just use that. Because I wonder if maybe you could present multiple things. Because really, I feel like if you're going to try and go for that, the costume prompt one, that one makes more sense. So it could be that both work. That sometimes happens in the series. I feel like it's pretty rare, but where like you can use multiple pieces of evidence on the same prompt and it's right. I feel like I've only seen that happen a few times, but I guess I also don't 100% know when it does actually accept multiple. Okay.
Take that!
The burn around this bullet hole was made when the victim was shot at point blank range. I mean, the murder Miss Oldback saw at the stadium really was... She saw two people, but they were separated by a distance. The victim was indeed shot from below the stage. There shouldn't be a gunpowder burn. Look at you, Mr. Smarty Pants Prosecutor. Since you seem to know all the answers, why not tell us where the real crime scene is then? Lance set me up to look like Mr. Deacon back at the hideout. If that's the case, then the murder must have happened prior to that. And the location where Lance and the victim were at just before I was imprisoned was... Yeah, that was the broken mirror. Yeah, the haunted house.
Take that!
I think it's not unreasonable to assume the murder took place in the haunted house. Haunted house? Yes, and I have proof it was highly likely the victim was killed there. Where are... Oh, there it is.
Take that!
Actually, I was thinking that... I remember the broken mirror, but I was thinking it was in the hideout. So... kind of... Probably would have got... If they had like a prompt pop up where it was like blank, the hideout, the haunted house, I would have totally gotten it wrong. Because I would have said the hideout. Because I don't remember there being a mirror in the... Or maybe there was a mirror and it wasn't broken. But I do remember the broken mirror thing. I'm surprised that stuck with me. Or I remember there being a broken mirror somewhere. A mirror? What does it have to do with anything? Indeed, you don't exactly expect to find pieces of a mirror inside a costume. That's actually pretty dangerous. There's one place I can think of where there's a plethora of mirror fragments. Another word of the day, edgy boy. And that's the haunted house.
Lance Amano, I propose that you killed Mr. Deacon with the revolver in the haunted house. Yep. Get clued on. I don't know. Couldn't think of a natural way to transition that phrase into the reference, but what do you say when you win a game of Clue? I have no clue. I think I played Clue like once as a kid. I remember like General Mustard or something in the Candlestick. That all the people had like weird ass names. I'm pretty sure those are General Mustard. Those somebody Mustard. And then you stole the blue Badgermobile to move his body to the Wild Wild West area. The time and when the blue Badgermobile was stolen confirms this as fact. Miles, my boy, say no more. I'm sorry, Mr. Amano, but I cannot do that. I have to take down you in order to clear myself of the allegations of being a puppet of the rich and powerful. Be quiet. Yes, please do something. Stop that boy from speaking any more nonsense. Ernest Amano, correct. I meant you. Now be quiet, Gramps. How dare you! I don't need words. The only thing I require is evidence, decisive evidence. And to call these mirror bits decisive is a bit too presumptuous, Mr. Prosecutor. What? Sheena! Wasn't there a mirror in the kid? Oh, okay, there was a mirror there. Yes, there was a mirror there. Okay. Because this is what I was picturing in my head. A mirror that's for the haunted house. See, ain't it possible the fragments got into the costume there? Agent Long, there were no fragments on the floor, so the probability is very low. Probability? Ha! Long Z says on Truth Pass the word probability does not exist. The only thing that does is definitive proof. But in our country, people get convicted all the time without definitive proof. I mean, you know how many times Phoenix Wright lost a case because he said the wrong thing 2 times in a row, and then the judge just said, ah, fuck it, he's guilty. Somebody's going to prison. I don't care who it is. Somebody's got to go. There's no such thing as a dead case around here. All right? The question, Mr. Prosecutor, is, do you got the definitive proof you need? Mr. Edgeworth, do you? I'm tapping. I've stopped tapping. Now I'm blinking. Now I'm thinking. Now I'm tapping. Now I'm looking while tapping. Do I have solid evidence that proves the murder took place at the haunted house? Actually, do we? I feel like we don't. At least nothing that's immediately obvious to me. Blood. Victim was killed elsewhere and then moved. There should be evidence of blood at the real murder site. Okay. The answer is no. See that you don't got any, shut up. I don't have the evidence yet, but I'm certain the murder occurred around the time I turned the ransom over. At that time, the only people at that haunted house, besides myself, were Lance and Mr. Deacon. If I can prove the murder took place at the haunted house, I can prove Lance's guilt in connection to the murder. What now, Mr. Edgeworth? Agent Long, I have a special request. Yeah? I'd like to prove to you the scene of the crime was indeed the haunted house. Why in the world are you asking the werewolf for permission? Because I don't really have a choice if I want to find the truth. Alright, permission granted. But you're not to touch a single thing, got it? That won't be a problem. All that's important to me is that the truth be brought to light. It doesn't matter by who or how it's done, as long as it is. Sheena! I'm here. Well, yeah, I knew that. That's why I snapped, because I knew you'd hear me. Put in the paperwork for the authorization immediately. Understood. I'll go get the Gatewater Group's approval. Who Who is that? Who keeps saying, making the words hold it appear in my mind's eye, but also not saying anything? How now? Let's hold on for a second there, partners. No need to obtain approval. Mr. Amano? Agent Long, if you'd please take a look at this. What is this? Sheena! You know I can't read. It's the deed to the haunted house. The deed? Read it out loud. Gatewater Land Inc. hereby bequeaths the property known as the haunted house. So maybe it's that they didn't. The ransom was they just wanted to kill Mr. Deacon. Because that is the main like missing thing, is why the hell would they kill him? But maybe it's that they knew he was Mr. Deacon and wanted to eliminate him because he'd made himself an enemy of the company potentially, or knew that he had anger at the company. But also we don't know why he went to prison, but other than that it was related to the company presumably. To Mr. Amano for the lump sum of $1 million paid in full in cash. What? As you can see, I'm now the legal owner of the haunted house. Are you kidding? When did you... Ran to the owner of the park earlier and we made a deal almost immediately. How quickly things move when you can repair $1 million in the blink of an eye. That $1 million you paid... Don't tell me it was... Oh, that's right. This disgusting suitcase belonged to you, doesn't it? Don't got any more use for it, so you may have it back now. You used the ransom money? My Lance is a good boy. He even apologized for the kidnapping a bit earlier. I do believe that I will forgive him. After all, he did return the ransom money. That's the way things are, so if you would please discuss things with me from now on. But I mean, you're just kind of delaying the inevitable, right? Because eventually they'd be able to get a search warrant, and then when an actual trial begins, they could search it. Well, I guess you could clean up beforehand, which would be a problem. I think you just like detain this guy until you got the search warrant, though. By permission to enter the haunted house, of course. While we were busy listening to Lance's story, Mr. Amano was out there preempting us. Permission to search the haunted house is denied. End of discussion. Agent Long, I want you to arrest that girl. And Miles, you should hurry on home now, my boy, before I really lose my temper. Mr. Amano definitely has the deck stacked in his favor here. What should I do? If I leave it like this, the truth will be lost forever. If only we had somebody who could sneak in there. Okay, I guess there's a lot more meat on this chapter than I thought. Because we were already at ladder. We're at the freaking final confrontation, man. You can't say final confrontation, they hit me with a to be continued. It should be final confrontation ladder. I can't get permission to investigate the crime scene, the truth will be lost. Hold it! Hold it! Hold it! Look at this majestic wind I just summoned. Okay? Mr. Edgeworth, what are you doing spacing out? Have you forgotten? There's only one thing you should do at a time like this. Commit crime. And what is that? When the people are in a bind, the hero of justice appears to save the day. Look, you just leave it to me. I am Kay Faraday, the second of the great Yatagarasu. You probably shouldn't say that out loud, Kay. I thought you were a thief, not a hero. What do you think Robin Hood is, dummy? Or Yatagarasu, the noble and always just thief of justice? That's... Oh, I forgot about the fucking... this thing. This shit would not hold up in a court of law. If we have enough information, I can recreate the inside of the haunted house with it. That's so fucking stupid. Yeah, in this virtual simulation, I created. Look at that. There's blood right there. Take my word for it. It's totally there in the real meat space. Plus, we factor in everyone's testimony. Oh my god. Oh, this has got big fucking... You go to your trial and they're like, hey, we just fed all of our evidence into the fucking chat GTP and they said you're guilty. The dang robot decided it for you. The fuck, man? Yeah, I did say chat DTP, but that's the knockoff in-universe version. Maybe I'll figure out some new information through this. It's worth a try. No, it's not, okay? I was kind of like... I thought it was fine as a gimmick for the investigation, but when we're actually going to use it to try and convince people, it's really stupid. To just be like, hey, she's got a little machine that simulates what the place could look like. Agent Long? You want to use a little toy? Be my guest. I mean, the one saving grace is that we're not in a court of law, but it's kind of dumb. You're about to witness the true power of a real modern-day Robin Hood. Detective Gumshoe? Is there a copy of the haunted house's blueprint among the police's reference documents? No, pal. The fucking theme park, pal. Why would we have the blueprints to a privately owned... Actually, I guess they are connected to the police now I think about it, so maybe that actually could make sense. Yes, sir, we got it just in case we need it for the kidnapping case. Alright, I'll input the haunted house data then. What is it? Where the hell are we? Bunch of damn Tecmo gizmos. Back in my day, you know what the most advanced piece of technology was? A plow, but it got a little tip of iron on it. That was all we needed to create immense civilizations. Now look at us today with our gadgets and our gizmos and our doodads. Are we really that much better off as a society? I mean, yeah, but I don't really know where I'm going. I'm old and out of touch and rich. I don't need to make sense. It's like we're inside the haunted house. Even if we can't inspect the real location itself. This shit is so stupid. It's like the equivalent of, like, you know, I've depicted you as the weak virgin and me as the Giga Chad. As you can see from this image, they clearly committed the murder. If I can successfully navigate my way using logic, I'll ultimately arrive at the truth. So dumb. Now then, I believe I'm ready to investigate the crime scene. What should I recreate first? You haven't figured it out yet? Yeah, maybe I have, maybe I haven't, but I'm gonna make you do all the hard work. Very well. I'd like to inspect the moment in which I was ambushed by my abductor. The two of them were definitely in this place at that time. If I can verify that, it may provide me with a new lead. I had just come out of the hall after leaving the money inside the dining room. At that time, I saw a badger slumped over on the floor at the end of the hall. What was a badger doing all the way down there?
I also thought it strange. However, I thought that maybe it was simply a mannequin that was set there for the atmosphere.
Do you know which badger it was?
No, it was too dark to tell. All I saw was its silhouette.
In that case, I guess I'll just program a badger silhouette in for now.
Yeah, of course. 3 buttons, that's all it takes to make the badger silhouette.
Okay, programming complete.
Then I started walking towards the exit.
And that's when you were struck from behind, right?
Yes. Shouldn't the badger be blue? At the very least, it shouldn't be green.
That's odd. The hallway's a dead end. Where did your assailant come from?
There's only one location I can think of. I believe my assailant was lying. This is a stupid question. Since they already told us.
Take that!
That doll I saw wasn't really a doll, it was in fact a costume kidnapper.
Okay, use the costume as a perfect camouflage to blend in with the rest of the house.
Precisely. He waited until I had made the drop off and was about to leave. Then, just as he saw me take a step towards the exit, he stood and launched his attack. I can think of no better hiding place than this. I feel like you wouldn't be able to see shit, man. Like, did he come out yet? I can't tell. I got this stupid costume on.
Not bad. I'm beginning to think I should steal this tactic for myself.
Just don't use it to do anything criminal, okay? Well, Lance.
Brother, this is some nonsense. You really think I'm going to dignify this with a response? You're like, hey, I just created a computer program where I'm going to show you murdering somebody and then say that's why you're guilty? Fuck off.
As one of the kidnappers, I figured I should give you the chance to confess first.
I was one of the kidnappers, but I don't know anything. I did come up to the haunted house, but I never set foot inside. I left Oliver in charge of picking up the ransom money.
Is he didn't set foot inside? Is he telling the truth, or is this another lie? Alright, then you're claiming it was Mr. Deacon who assaulted me. Yes, I'm sure it was him.
Okay, inputting the new info now. Mr. Deacon was the Bad Badger, right? Since the Bad Badger has a gun attached to his right hand, I'll have it changed so the weapon is in his left hand.
Now to verify the facts of this recreation. Okay. Don't think we're going to be able to finish the case in this video, so I suppose we'll go ahead and stop. This is a bit longer than I expected. I mean, I would have thought when we got to final confrontation ladder, that I thought that would be close to the end of the case. My fucking bad. I'm sorry. How could I ever be so stupid to think that final confrontation ladder even slightly somewhat implied that maybe you were almost done with the case? And well, you'd have to positively be like basically have the intellect of a small child to even begin to think that's what a logical assumption to reach. But next time we should probably actually finish the case. I'm Extra Cheesy 87. Stay tuned for the next part. And bye, guys.